sass in every way. Talking fast, not a pause in sight. Leanie's got my head in a spin tonight. Oh, shut up, Leanie, can't you see? You talk so much, it's drowning me. With your white hair and sassy flair, just give me a breath, let me share. Podcast queen with a wicked smile, running jokes mile after mile. Try to speak, but in she slides. Leanie makes it a wild ride. With a wicked smile, running jokes mile after mile. I try to speak, but in she slides. Leanie makes it a wild ride. Oh, shut up, Leanie, can't you see? You talk so much, it's drowning me. With your white hair and sassy flair, just give me a breath, let me share. Oh, Leanie, don't get me wrong, can't imagine life without your song. But girl, you've gotta let me in. This ain't just your show to win. So here I stand with my mic in hand, trying to keep this show as planned. Leanie laughs, guess it's gonna stay a little secret every day. Trying to keep this show as planned. Leanie laughs, guess it's gonna stay a little secret every day. Oh, shut up, Leanie, can't you see? You talk so much, it's drowning me. With your white hair and sassy flair, just give me a breath, let me share. Let me share. Oh, Leanie, don't get me wrong, can't imagine life without your song. But girl, you've gotta let me. This ain't just your show to win. Oh, shut up, Leanie, can't you see? You talk so much, it's drowning me. With your white hair and sassy flair, just give me a breath, let me share. Oh, Leanie, don't get me wrong, can't imagine life without your song. But girl, you've gotta let me. This ain't just your show to win. So here I stand with my mic in hand, trying to keep this show as planned. Leanie laughs, guess it's gonna stay a little secret every day. So here I stand with my mic in hand, trying to keep this show as planned. Leanie laughs, guess it's gonna stay a little secret every day.
Yeah. This is a smoke break song, or it might be a coffee song. Just everyone sing along, go and take a pee. This is a smoke break song, lunch lady's smoke break song. She doesn't write them to be alone, that's just the way it's gonna be. So what are y'all into? Hey Richie, have you drank a few? I drank a few too, back in '93. This is a Pete dance song, everybody better be getting on. Sit on the pot and pee, even if you have a wee-wee. Wee. This is the beefcake song, he needs coffee for his drive to be gone from the house so he can make some money. Money, money. This is an Aussie song, everyone just sing along. We'll sing hey true blue and greet with the cooey. This is a British song, it's a quite proper song. We will all go mad unless you sing along. Okay, that's long enough for our professional smoker. Come back to your chat, great host Leanie. Hotbox that cigarette, your song is over yet? My words I'm starting to forget because we don't ever sleep. Hit the like chicken, LL Cool Mom out. I'll be one ticking, LL Cool Mom out. out. Help! Maggie's got a voice so loud, bright as sunshine through a cloud. In Liverpool, she's our pride, but that scar's a charm she can't hide. Leanie's got that snowy hair, talking telly to anywhere. Podcasts live and they just chat, but Maggie snaps back just like that. Shut up, Leanie, she calls out, voice like trumpets ringing out. In this show of laughs and glee, Maggie's words are wild and free. Leanie laughs a hearty sound, standing with her pints around. But Maggie, she don't hold back, her words cut quick with a smack. Oh, oh, that vintage swing in the air, big band tunes everywhere. Maggie's accent's pure delight through the mic, day and night. Shut up, Leanie, she calls out, voices clash with playful doubt. They entertain in harmony, Maggie's words wild and free.
Okay, so I'll turn that off. Just bear with me. I can't see the chat. Right now, let's source this picture because I don't think. Can you hear me okay, JB? Can you let me know if you can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I never even tested my mic. Oh dear. Let me go on. Oh yeah, you can hear me. Okay, that's good. Thank you. I'm just gonna see if I can sort this picture on the screen. Hang on. So what do? I have to where is it? Bloody hell, I don't even know where to put it. So where am I? Oh, there I am there. So I thought that it'd stay up on the screen with me, but obviously not. So let's see. No, it's just the same, isn't it? And he ain't being too big on that screen, so that's big enough. There you go. I'll leave it like that. So when you're ready, let me know and I'll start. So let me give you a little bit of what happened today. So this is how bad my brain is, right? I knew it was Father's Day today. Now, this is going to even break my heart to say this. It makes me feel terrible, but I'm just being honest. I never give my own dad a thought. It never even entered my mind. I'm making sure Ryan's got his dad a card. And I'm badgering them by the minute, going, don't you forget to get your dad a card, don't you forget to. Now, I got my dad flowers a few weeks back to put on the grave anyway. Silk flowers. We always put silk flowers on because I hate the thought of the flowers being on the grave and them dying and they'll look terrible. And I'm not able to get there like I used to do them. So I always get silk flowers now. So I had them in a vase ready on the table. And I was going to go out for a walk with Alec, but it was dead windy and it was threatening rain. So I said, you know what, we'll leave it. I said, I'll tell you what, we'll go to the cemetery and I'll take some pictures and video for Leanie. So we said, yeah, all right. And that's when it hit me like a bolt of lightning right in my heart. I went, oh my God, got the flowers dead quick. I went, Alec, it's Father's Day. And he looked at me and I went, Alec, it's my dad, it's Father's Day. I don't believe it. What made me say the cemetery of all days today? Thank God. I got so upset, honestly, that I just couldn't believe that I forgot. it's not like I forgot. It just doesn't even come in me. It just didn't come into my mind. It was like it was Alex Beatty, and it didn't belong to me dad. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even give me dad a thought for. Oh, I don't know. I can't explain it. It just didn't come to me at all. Father's Day, my dad too. So I went right up the cemetery, and Alec cleaned all the stone. He's done it really good. It looks brand new. It's been like that for ages now. But I was I tell you what, I'd be lost because no one goes near the grave. Do you know what I mean? I've got two brothers. They don't go near it and do anything at all. They might drive up and go past. Well, I know one does. Yeah, but that's about it. So only for my husband, it just would be neglected because, like I say, I'm not able anymore. So we went up and I put the flowers on and I says, "Oh, Dad," I says, "I'm so sorry." Talking to his picture. I says, "I don't know what to do with me. I can't remember stuff." Now I know my dad would just be laughing. I know he'd just laugh at me because he knows it's genuine from the heart that I wasn't making excuses. I've never missed a Father's Day. You know, any his anniversaries, his birthdays, Christmas, anything like that, Easter, I don't miss. So anyway, so we goes up there and we like sees to my dad's grave, and then it's got like a big field where people take the dogs. It's a huge cemetery. So Honey took Jessie over and he was playing with the ball for it, and then I drove around a bit, and then he got in and we went driving around. So I wanted to go to the Chinese section, but there was people there, so we went round the other side. No, to try and get some old graves because I've seen really old ones. But it starts to rain, so it ruins everything, doesn't it? So round, dotted round the cemetery, they've got these information. It's like a concrete post, and on the top of it, it's got information, and it tells you about, like famous or infamous people that are buried at the cemetery. And that's when I came across um, Julia Wallace, the murder of Julia Wallace. So I was like, oh my God, get a picture, get a picture. So it was it was just I couldn't wait to read, and I thought, you know what? I was just sitting there and I thought I'll read that. So even Jack the Ripper, the man who claimed to be Jack the Ripper, is buried there as well. So I could read that, I suppose, another time. So let me have a look at these comments. So this is why I'm reading it. I have got no idea apart from the heading about this, so I'll be reading it to myself too. Hi, Iran. Good to see you, girl. Me neither, Maggie. Glad to hear I'm not here. Oh, did you not give it a thought for your dad? And what's going on? I do that too. You do what, JB? Just forget. It's not like you forget because you'll never forget them. No, it just doesn't dawn on you, does it? It just did not dawn on me. I knew it was Father's Day. What the hell? I'm thinking it was just all about Salah, as if it was his birthday. Do you get me? Oh God, I worry myself sick. I'll lie there tonight and think about that. But thank God for that. I don't feel as bad now. But it's a horrible thing, isn't it? When it's just, I remember going away one time, and it was it my dad's birthday or his anniversary? Can't remember which. And the following day, it was I was going away. I'd gone away, and the following day it was my dad's, I think, anniversary, and it made me feel sick. So one of my friends knew how much it was playing on my mind, and she went up, put flowers on him, and took a photo, and said, "Yeah, he's done, and he's fat." And I'm like, "Oh God, forever grateful." I really was forever grateful because, you know, JB, I don't decorate graves. It's entirely up to you what you do, JB. It's entirely up to you. It comforts me. Do you know what I mean? It comforts me. My brothers don't bother going near. They just say he's not there, but then one of them goes and looks at the grave, so I don't understand, but he can't tend to it. So I don't get that. That he sees it's full of leaves and it's crappy and dirty, but he can't like clean it. This place is right on my doorstep. Do you know what I mean? Not like America, where you get into a car and you're 2 hours to go somewhere. This is like 5 minutes away, 10 minutes the most. So it's just hates me. But yeah, not everyone does go, you know. But so who's in anyways? There only you and Annie, JB, and Lunch. She'll be listening on her way, won't she? She can hear it on the way back. So anyway, do you want me to get started? Have you got your feet up? Are you all comfy, Anne? God, Anne, it's late for you, isn't it, girl? Let's get started, eh? Because I'm dying. Dying to know. Oh, God, where is it? I've got it open on my phone somewhere. Dying to know what happened. I have a kind of excuse, I think. I just a few days ago found out that my son, living in China, he was trying to find his bio dad for a few years now. He couldn't find him because he passed away in oh, and he didn't even know. Ah, how sad for him. Oh, sorry about that, Anne. JB, I would have to drive an hour. My brother decorates my parents' grave. That's what I mean. It's a long drive for you, and I get that. Do you know what I mean? There's been times I should have gone to the cemetery, and the weather has been terrible, and it's been icy. I can't walk on that. So I don't even tempt it. So as soon as the weather lifts, I make me way there. Do you know? It's just it is what it is, isn't it? I try my best, and you know, thankfully, I never forget until now. I mean, how does that make you feel? It's horrible, isn't it? I can't do it on the phone, so I'll have to fly there to tell him. Hang on. Oh, oh my God, hang on a minute, Anne. Let me get that right. So you found out, and you've got to tell him, Anne. Ah, so inspired test for you. Oh, so this is your son who's there with his wife and children. And my other son being murdered there, I swore I'd never set foot there again. Oh, and I'm sure he understands if you didn't go, love. Do you know what? Maybe I know it never happened, but it, this is going to give you the chance to go and see the kids and see your son. Do you know what I mean? Maybe this is going to give you the push that you need. Maybe this is face it for you to go on. What do you think? I mean, I can understand you saying you'd never. I totally understand. Yeah, it's pushing you, but it's hard. So when it must be awful, girl. It must be awful. But how do we know that it's not him that's pushing you? Eh? How do we know that all this time you found this house and the only way you want to tell him is face to face, and that means having to go. So this could be your lad. This could be your lads. Honestly, I believe in stuff like that. This is the push you need. Oh, isn't it, JB? It's terrible. That story is so heartbreaking. Was you there, JB, when Anne told the story? Oh, God, what that woman's been through. Unbelievable. Oh, what a thing to have found out. I have to tell him being there. He is very, very sensitive. Well, I think it's your son. I think it's your son, Anne. It's been made for you to find out now. He wants you to go, and he wants you to go and see your other son and not miss out on him and your grandchildren. So you get yourself there, girl, and you know what? You'll feel different, and because you're going there for a happy time to see your grandkids. You can think of that to keep you going, girl. To to lift your heavy heart for what you've got to tell your son. Oh my God, isn't it? Do you know what? When you think things can't get any worse, ah, God, oh man, ah, and so is he been searching? Is he been using all the search things? And how did you find out? If you don't mind me asking, if you don't mind telling. Oh, oh God, that's going to be a blow on, isn't it? Eh? Do you know what? If he finds out where his buried and or Masons, whatever, maybe he could visit. Maybe that'll close that chapter. Help him to close that chapter. Oh my God, it's meant. Oh, and it's definitely meant. It's your lad. It's definitely meant because you would never, like you said, have gone to that country in your life. You've not seen your grandkids because it just breaks your heart the thought of having to go there. And look at this now because there was no other way of getting you there. Yeah, exactly, JB. You might have more family members then. You might have more and, be able to speak to them and they can tell them things and show them pictures and stuff like that who have been in touch with him, up to his died. Hi, MJD. Good to see you, girl. So just look at it that way. I honestly believe that it's fated for this to happen. Of all the times for you to find out, I started my heritage family line, and while I put my son's name in, it popped up with his dad's name being connected. So I went there, and there it says he passed away in 2017. Oh my God, Anne. And it's definitely the same one. God, girl. Does it tell you if there's any other family members, Anne? Because it doesn't it link you all, or that's only if they're in there, though, isn't it? Yes, photos and all. Ah, yeah. Did he have other children? Oh, go on, and what? Oh, see, I'm thinking it's more and more your son as you're saying things. God, and we should have got you up on panel. Do you want to come up on panel, Anne, and talk about it before I read the story? Do you want to come up? Let me know. We're all on the edge of our seats. All right, Anne, I understand. A lot better, thanks, MJD. A lot better. Do you know what had happened? Was I've been having like 3 or 4 hours a night sleep, but they've been broken terrible. 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, half an hour there. I have been absolutely worn out. It's been terrible. So on Friday, I just took the knock. I just stayed in bed the whole day, going to sleep, waking up, going to sleep, waking up. And it was what I needed. I'm still up the wall with my sleep. I'm still not having a good night's sleep or anything. I'm still only getting the 4 hours here or whatever. But because I had that Friday where I sort of recharged my batteries, it did not make me feel better in myself. Just that. So thanks for asking. Thanks, love. Oh, did you see what Anne said? Mary, did you see? How sad is that, eh? Bloody hell. Oh. Just never know, do you? This we were talking about this, weren't we, with Leanie? Was it last week? About people should go in these things and put your names down because you don't realise, JB, now my son is an only child and his father had 3 brothers and a sister and they all died with their kids. Ah, in accidents and attacks. Oh my God, Anne. Ah, wow. And they all died with the kids too. In accidents. Oh my God. So none of them survived. And it's definitely that they all died. What happened, MJD, is Anne was on an ancestral site. Her son has been looking for his dad, always wanting to see his dad. And Anne went on anyway and found out, she's just found out he died in 2017 and her son doesn't know. Ah, and Anne won't go back to China. Her son lives there with his family, his little kids. She's never seen her grandchildren because her son, her youngest son, was murdered there, and she swore she'd never go back. And now she knows she's got to go back to tell her son face to face because it's not something. She says he's really sensitive. It's not something she wants to tell him over the phone. So I said, I think this has been faces of all the time for you to find this out now. I think it's her son. I really do believe this has been facing for her. It's the only way she would ever go back to the country. The only way. God works in mysterious ways. Yeah. Oh, all the death certificates are on there too. Oh my God. Well, who put them on then, Anne? Who's put them on? Do you know what I mean? If they're all dead, there's got to be someone, hasn't there, to have put them on? Does it say when they were put on the site? Yeah, Anne, you're right. You're right. No, no, MJD, it wasn't. No, yeah, they would have covered it up. Yeah, for sure. It's automatic when we die now, which is automatic, JB, that it goes on, tells people. So some relative who was married to one of them, not blood related, but at least there's someone there that can give him some information on. Someone. She could say is the absolute image. She could say image of your dad. Oh, you get to see your grandkids. That's what I mean. She's never seen them and she longs to see them. So we get added to the registry. Is that just Americans or for every person? Never knew that. So what is it an ancestry one? Are you talking about yous as Americans? This happens to yous. Oh yeah, Anne. I hope she's got loads of information. I wonder if you ever tried to find your son on ancestry.com. Well, I'm going to look on there. Have you got a pay to go on it? Let me know if you've got. I'd love to look at all that, you know. If I'm moving this mic, I'm having a swig of coffee. 420. What's 420? Your time, you mean? Hang on. 987654. Yeah. My heritage shows all my family that have died recently and no one to register. Oh, where? And when has this been since, JB? I thought you've got to add yourself to it. Smoke break. Go and have a ciggy. He's waking his ass off dreaming to find his dad and then move him to live with him. Oh, he's been saving for that dream. Oh, don't turn up be broken horses here. Oh. Okay, no wonder you've got to go over. Oh, did you? Oh, I wonder, Anne, if you ever, look for him. That's what I mean. Don't mind me asking, Anne. Is this the man that you had a terrible time with? Is he the dad? I can't remember. See, that's why I know. Yeah, you do, Anne. And it's meant. It's going to be the best thing for you in the end. No, my two cousins died and there's no one to put them in, but they popped up as relatives. Wow. So is this just, are you talking about this is just the Americans that this happens to? Or is this worldwide? It's my second husband. So it wasn't that mental case. Okay. Okay. So I wonder if the government takes their blood type and DNA and stuff when they pass away. This is nothing to do with the son whose father's died. This is nothing to do with him. He's got a different dad. The son that was made, he was only a young lad. I think he was 20, but I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Rapper, I'll go to dinner with you. Where are we going? I've got a long way to travel, though, haven't I? Anne's laughing at me. Is she laughing at me or laughing at Rapper? And how old was your son, Gail? It's an international database. See what I mean, JB? I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue about all this ancestry. No DNA, but they link their mother to my mother as sisters. Wow. Oh, God. This rapper, do you know what? You terrible place. If it's not JB, it's Leanie. Hi, Sean. How are you, love? I hope you're okay. Just, do you know what? I had this on within 15 minutes of deciding to come on and read about this woman's grave that I found today. She was made of Sean. Oh my God. I said, I've got to go. Do you know what? Breaks me up because it says it was unsolved. That's the worst thing ever. The worst thing is not known. Yeah, happy Father's Day, Sean. I hope you were ruined today. I'm just enjoying my Father's Day weekend. Good for you. Oh, you posted that, Maggie. What is a post, MJD? Oh, I get you. So when I posted on Leanie's, I never said it was Maggie. See what I mean? Oh, God. I need to go and edit them then, don't I, and say it's Maggie. But I thought with it saying Liverpool. Oh, see, I need to go and have a look. I don't know what I'm doing on a daily basis. I really don't. But I need to, I'll have to do that. Can you remind me the end of the line? Maggie, go and edit it. And says, I'm saving money now so I can go into December, Maggie. Visa and tickets are expensive. Oh, God, I know, and it's the best time to go is, I think it's January and February because the prices for, is she limping? Oh, my dog's limping. What's to do, Jess? Oh, she's limping. Oh. Oh, you know what? She's had a good run today. It's run the ball everywhere, and she was running after it. She doesn't get that much exercise, but she's 9 now. She's probably got a little bit of arthritis. She's still looking for. I ate little bits of biscuits, air biscuits around the house, and she's found them all. And she's still looking for more, but she's limping. She just jumped up on the. Oh, this leg here on the right. Sorry, guys. The one on the right, I think. Go by it high. Oh God. Oh God, that'll break me heart now. My little dog. Yeah, looking at little pads, a paw pad's not on there. She hasn't got a sticky bud in it or nothing. Or maybe that's so. Oh, he's got it upside down now. Wish I could show you the picture. You're okay? I just seen a limping from there. Oh, that's it now. My life's all over. Yeah, Anne. She could have just been lame funny, but I'll keep an eye on her now that I've seen it. Yeah, I've been in the vet yesterday. I had to get a Apoquel. You know, she started itching terrible just after Christmas, and it was. I had an idea. It was chicken. She was allergic to chicken, and you know what? Since I've took her off it, and she's been on the Apoquel, oh my God, the differences. Now she's holding that up. See, she's walking, guys. She's holding her leg up. Yeah, don't let her. Don't let her jump. Get her down. She wants to get down. She's like, Oh God, sorry. These poor people listen to me, and the poor dog's limping. I don't know. MJT, I've got a clue. She's never had an injury in all the years I've had it. Now, don't have a jumping. What's wrong with men? Having a jumping up. She's got a little ball and lay down. You won't go to sleep without something in her mouth. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, man, the tickets are dead dear at Christmas. Oh, they're more expensive than summer. So it might be why, mind you, it'll be lovely if you could go for Christmas, Anne, wouldn't it? Hey, be lovely. Maybe that's meant. There you go. Oh, I'll pray for my little Jessie, will yous? Oh, looking at her little brown eyes, I can't be. She's got lovely big round brown eyes, haven't you, like chocolate buttons? You have. Anyway, so is everyone sitting and got a cuppa? And I'll start this story. If you're ready. Are you ready? So I'm going to play an intermission. I hope so, Anne. I'm going to play a new song that Lunchy has downloaded for Fellini. I haven't heard it all of it at the beginning. It's brilliant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play it now, right? It's a little break song. And then we'll get to the reading after it. So we'll just find it now. So listen to this. How clever is she, though, eh? How clever is she? So here we go.
Let's take a break. Have a smoke, put your coffee on, and take another toke. It's wild here, we do proclaim. We go through life without any shame. We sing and laugh while Leanie sighs. Then she winks at all the guys. We're just a bunch of silly mates, having a good time without the hate. Well, my, oh my, would you look at that? Leanie shaved her eyebrows, and they won't grow back. She can't be trusted to take a break. Get back here, Blondie, before a chance you take. Maggie's toilet is stopped up. Oh, what a mess. Taking a break 'cause it's such distress. Everyone get back here, back to this chat. We got people waiting to chew the fat. Take out your laundry and make your bed, so you won't feel guilty being here instead. Throw the meat in the crock pot, put some beans in a pan. Now your dinner is
So this is another song she's put on. Leanie's Smoke Break.
Screen. Hilarity's a cocktail where we dream. Maggie's jokes are a meme machine. Turns our blues to yellow and green. Lily needs a smoke break, light it up. Life spins crazy, but we fill our cup. Laughter's the anthem, turn it up. Bursted with love, it's more than enough. Impromptu vibes like morning light. Creating joy in the middle of the night. Smoke breaks, just a moment of quiet fight. Back to fun, to the crazy side. Tick-tock, time flies by with Maggie's jokes that reach the sky. Leanie grins with a happy sigh. Happiness streaming, no need to cry. Leanie needs a smoke break, light it up. Life spins crazy, but we fill our cup. Laughter's the anthem, turn it up. Bursted with love, it's more than enough. Impromptu vibes like morning light. Creating joy in the middle of the night. Smoke breaks, just a moment of quiet fight. Bursted with love, it's more than enough. Impromptu vibes like morning up. Life spins crazy, but we fill our cup.
Okay, guys, just a little excuse to let you hear the new songs that she's going on. Can you all hit the like, please? I'd be really grateful if you did. I'm just going to take this off now. And this is what we're talking about. So, the murder of Julia Wallace. So, that's Julia Wallace on the left, who was murdered, and her husband is on the right. He was accused. Now, I'm not sure whether this murder was ever solved, because I'm listening for the first time with yous. Now, it could be where we've got to work it out, which will be good. So have a good listen and bear with me if I get words wrong, as I sometimes do, or always do. So I don't know how to get that in the background. I haven't got a clue. And me there, so it doesn't matter, does it? Because I'll just take it off like that. There you go. So who have we got in? So we've got Sean. Are you still here, Sean? We've got MJD. We've got JB. Anne's gone to bed. Lunch lady's gone to see the baby. So there's just JB, MJD. I don't know whether Sean's still there, and me. So let's go then. So yeah, if I've posted all pictures today from the cemetery, and as MJD has just pointed out to me, I haven't put that it was me, so everyone could think it's Leanie. Although looking at some of the pictures, I think they'd know, but you never know. So you're back, JB. Thank God for that. Oh, Rapper's still here. Is Rapper still here? Don't know. I think Sean's gone as well. Okay, well, let's go. It's only me and you, JB and MJD. That's all we need. Here goes. Is my mic okay, or is it too loud? Should I move it away from your mouth? Let me know for a start. These glasses need cleaning. Oh my God. Where's my little cleaner? Can't find it. I'll have to use my t-shirts. Bear with me, everyone. You okay, Jess? Are you okay? Are you okay? Oh, Mummy, check it after this, eh? I check it after this. Okay, girl. I check it. My poor baby. Just right. Okay, and I've just moved it. I'm going to put my glasses on. Okay, the year is 1931. A man named William Herbert Wallace has been married and living with his wife Julia Wallace for about 16 years at 29 Wolverton Street, Liverpool, England. At this time, Wallace works for the Prudential Assurance Company, the originator of the Man from the Prue commercials, which would go on to make the Prue a household name in later years. It still is, the Prudential. The man from Prue was not just the insurance agent, he was your confidant, a friend, someone you could rely upon for advice. From time to time, he could even end up as the designated best man at a client's wedding. The potential agent was sharp and always on the lookout for new business. If a new neighbour had moved in on the street or on which he collected from, he was expected to take initiative and knock on the door to introduce himself. Indeed, over the years, the Prue gained a reputation for reliability and honesty. Wallace himself had gained a reputation as being a total gentleman, and all who spoke about him gave him a glowing character report, all except the ex-co-worker named Alfred Mather, who appeared to despise both William and Julia Wallace. To most everyone, the Wallaces were a very loving, devoted couple. The family doctor and a nurse who had been into the home would attest a sense of callousness between the two. But terrace neighbours, the Johnsons, said they had never heard so much as a quarrel in a decade of living next door. But in this instance, the respectable man from the Prudential with the seemingly perfect marriage, William Herbert Wallace, was to be charged with the most heinous crime imaginable, murder. But the question still remains, did William Herbert Wallace really smash his wife's skull into pieces with a blunt instrument in a cleverly premeditated plan? A jury thought so and sentenced him to death. But fortunately for Wallace, the judges at the appeal trial saw it differently and quashed his conviction completely, releasing him back into the world a free man, a move which was rather unprecedented at the time. According to Wallace's solicitor, Hector Munro, in a rare radio interview, also a member of the chess club at which William sometimes played, in that era, to overturn a jury murder convicted must have meant that there was not even a shred of evidence against the accused. The intrigue about the Wallace case is that the events seemingly came together so perfectly that it was considered impossible to finger any man as the killer, and so it has remained a Liverpool legend for almost a century, enduring to this day, waiting for someone to finally crack the riddle. Almost every piece of evidence can be seen as consistent with either guilt or innocence, depending on how you choose to look at it. And the catalyst of this most brutal crime would be a mysterious telephone call to the local chess club on the 19th of January. Can you hear okay then, JB, and anyone else who's still here? Can you make out what I'm saying? Is it clear enough? On the night of Monday, the 19th of January, William claims to have left his home at about 1915 to 1920, so 20 past 7, isn't it, in the evening, to attend his chess club. The club, known as the Liverpool Central Chess Club, was headed by Captain Samuel Beattie, who had known Wallace for 8 years. The club would meet in one of the 4 rooms on the ground floor of Cottle City Cafe, 24 North John Street, to the west of Liverpool, near the River Mersey. You can talk and at your accent. That's good. Although certain match games were penned in, These obligations weren't always kept. At the club would meet every Monday and Thursday evening through the autumn and winter months in any case. Wallace was not a regular attender, according to BC, but might turn up once or twice a week. Wallace liked to set aside free time from his insurance work and duties every other Monday, and it was usually on these evenings that he would make a trip down to play a game of chess. Wallace was a rather studious man with varied intellectual interests, which was solely that drew him to the game of chess. Well educated, he had spent time giving lectures in the subject of chemistry at the Liverpool Technical Institute some years prior. Below, an experiment by a student of Wallace's, which he signed. The handwriting is difficult to read to my eye, but it seems to be signed at the 1st of December 1925. I'll take a screenshot of that and put it up after and see what you can see, because I can't see anything. I can see the words add on, and that's it. Such was his interest in chemistry, particularly that one of a botanical nature. He had a spare back bedroom on the upper floor of 29 Wolverton Street, converted into a mini laboratory where he kept various scientific tools and bottles of presumably chemicals and specimens. Other interests of his included philosophy. In his personal diaries, he often pored over matters of philosophy with musing about life and death. Perhaps in part due to his own constant proximity to death, owing to a kidney disease he was repeatedly told would allow him only a few years to live. Although these predictions rarely came to fruition, it might have played on his mind, and he had been in hospital on various occasions. It was due to his ailment that he was forced to return from abroad, where he had worked in places such as Calcutta. His brother Joseph Wallace also worked abroad, though his wife Amy Wallace had decided to return to Liverpool with their son Edwin, where they resided at Ullet Road, Sefton Park. A fortunate turn for William, surely, since the introverted type of man that he was, he did not have many friends outside of his wife and neighbours James Caird, who lived one street over, Letchworth Street. The visit from his sister-in-law and nephew Edwin would have provided the couple with a social outlet, and they would show the gratitude by serenading them with musical duos in the parlour. Julia, the expert on the upright piano, and Wallace, a relative beginner on the violin. Much of the household's money went into these intellectual pursuits, including the purchase of an expensive microscope. Wallace would recall in later life that one of his greatest goals in life was to make some sort of important scientific discovery. Although he unfortunately did not make history through his love of science, he definitely made history in law. His case is still used in law schools as a demonstration of a miscarriage of justice to this very day. But aside from chemistry, botany and astronomy, philosophy and performing music, chess, which he was ironically very poor at given the way his hobby impacted public opinion, was certainly a staple of his, according to his Munro. While in the condemned cell, Wallace would mostly pass his time reading books and astronomy and playing chess. As a second-class player, Wallace was scheduled to play tournament matches on Mondays, roughly every other week, though the intervals varied, with the match dates displaying on a public chart near the door just outside the cafe's phone booth. Generally, up to 100 people could be expected to be in the cafe, and witness Gladys Harley often waited on the members of the chess club on the nights they met. Tonight, the 19th of January 1931, as per the schedule displayed on the notice board, he was drawn to play a Mr. F. C. Chandler. According to Wallace, he was unsure about even attending his club on this night because his wife was poorly with bronchitis and he himself had just gotten over a flu which was sweeping across Liverpool. But she gave him the go-ahead, a move which would ultimately lead to her brutal demise. Things take a turn for the unusual when the chess captain Samuel Beatty receives a telephone call requesting a message to be delivered to Mr. Wallace. Although the exact figures are disputed, the call is first attempted from a telephone box in the Anfield district as roughly around about 19:15 at night, so that's 7:15 at night. In those days, telephone calls were made from Anfield had to be connected manually by switchboard operators. So the first person this mysterious caller speaks to is a telephone operator, Louisa Alfreds. According to her court testimony, she successfully put this call through to the cafe and heard a voice pick up on the line. Her friend Lillian Martha Kelly says that Louisa then told the man, "Go ahead, please," which was the cue for the caller to press button A to deposit the coins and connect the call. But something strange happened. Moments later, the man was back on the phone to the operators, this time speaking to Lillian Martha Kelly. She recounts this fateful telephone call many years later in the 1980s. A moment later, he, the caller, was back onto the exchange, and this time I took the call. He had obviously pressed the wrong button, button B instead of button A, and had cut himself off. The reason I remember it is because he pressed the wrong button and had paid his money but not received his correspondence. I said to Louisa Alfred, who was sitting next to me, that this man has just been on before. The voice protested to Miss Kelly, "Operator, I have pressed button A, but have not had my correspondence yet." To add to the mystery, in spite of the first operator claiming someone at the City Cafe picked up the line, waitress Gladys Hardy strongly disputes this. The exact order of events here is often written differently, depending on where you look. But from the unabridged trial in the Home Office records, Miss Kelly states she was able to see that button B had been pressed and the coins had been returned to the caller by the light on the switchboard. Whether this was before or after she had asked him to do so was not made clear enough to be definite on the matter. Either way, she then attempted to connect the call again, but found the line engaged. Upon failing to connect the call, Miss Kelly flagged down his supervisor, Annie Robertson. Telephone protocol meant that any potential technical faults, such as this, would be noted down, which Annie Robertson did dutifully, writing down the identity of the phone box, Anfield 1627, 720, as the time the call was made and patched through, and NR, which was no reply, in the margin to indicate the type of error. Waitress Gladys Harley answered the phone to the sound of the operator, Bank 3581. Gladys replied in the affirmative, "Anfield calling you, hold the line," as Miss Hartley waited for the caller to begin speaking, according to her, about 2 minutes after she answered the phone, which would make this around 7:22 at this point. She heard mumbling and something about 2 pennies, and then suddenly a man's voice began speaking to her. When recounting his voice, all of the operators described it as an ordinary man's voice, not nervous or agitated, but perhaps somewhat cultured. One thing that stood out to them was how the man pronounced the word cafe with the accented E. Cafe is which way I'm saying it, because we as Scousers would say cafe, but I'm saying it as cafe because that's what's used the most, as opposed to the more common cafe. Gladys Harley noticed nothing unusual about the voice, except that it was deep and spoke quickly, and that it seemed to her to be an elderly man. Although she knew Wallace by sight from her time waiting on the chess club, she did not know his voice well, and did not know his name, and did not recognise whichever voice was on the telephone. After the voice asked if he was speaking to the Central Chess Club, receiving a positive response, he asked if Mr. Wallace was there. As a result of this inquiry, Gladys went to the captain of the chess club, Samuel Beatty, to ask if Mr. Wallace was there, as there was a man on the telephone wishing to speak to him. Beatty saw that he was not there, and at Gladys's request went to the phone himself. There have been many different variations of this conversation reported by Beatty, but from what can be gathered, the general gist is something along the lines of: Caller: is Mr. Wallace there? Beatty: no. Caller: can you give me his address? Beatty: I'm afraid I can't. Caller: but he will be there. Beatty: I can't say. He may or may not. If he is coming, he will be here shortly. I suggest you ring up later. Caller: oh no, I can't. I'm too busy. I've got my girl's 21st birthday party on. I want to see Mr. Wallace on a matter of business. It's something in the nature of his business. The caller asked Beatty to pass on a message to Mr. Wallace for him, requesting that Wallace visit him the following night at 7:30, giving his name and address as R.M. Quailthrow, 25 Menlove Gardens East, Mossley Hill. My Beatty then repeated the name and address back to the caller, requesting the name be spelled out and the address repeated back to ensure its accuracy. At around 1945 to 1950, William arrived at the chess club. According to Samuel Beatty, there is a rule at the club that those who arrive after 1945 can be penalised, with matches sometimes starting earlier than this time. It was not stated if this rule was applied to unscheduled matches. Despite these claims, the notice boards upon which the chess club schedules were posted, the one Quailthrough is alleged to have studied, contains a notice stating that games must start by 1930. If a player is later than this, their clock has started against them. In chess, there is a time limit for each player in a game, and if their clock runs over time, their opponents can call it a win. That evening, the evening's matches were to be concluded a little after 10 p.m. Wallace's opponent, FC Chandler, did not show up that night, so James Caird, who had seen Wallace arrive, offered him a friendly game. Wallace refused this match. James Caird was in a higher chess league than Wallace, instead settling into a tournament game against a Mr. McCartney, who he had previously missed a match with and needed to play off. James Caird then walked over to Mr. Beatty's table. When Beatty noticed Caird, he asked him for William's address, only to be told that Wallace had in fact arrived at the club and was just about to start a match against Mr. McCartney. Upon hearing this news, Beatty approached Wallace, who seemed very confused on the game, and relayed this strange message to him after rousing his attention. Wallace seemed puzzled. William Quailthrow? Quailthrow? Who is Quailthrow? Beatty: well, if you don't know who he is, then I don't. William: is he a member of the club? Beatty: no. William: I don't know the chap. Where is Menlove Gardens East? Is it Menlove Avenue? Beatty: no, Menlove Gardens East. William: where is Menlove Gardens East? Beatty: wait a minute. I'll see whether Days, another member of the chess club, who lived in that district, knows. He did not. Wallace copied the details into his diary from an envelope. Mr. Beatty had etched the name and address onto writing the word East in block capitals. Beatty knew of Menlove Avenue West, but not Menlove Gardens East. Days had heard of Menlove Gardens North, South and West, but had not heard of East. But it was agreed upon that it would surely be somewhere off Menlove Avenue, which Wallace was advised of which Wallace was advised of. McCartney asked for Wallace's address so as to suggest a suitable route he could take, and others chimed in with their own suggestions. Wallace, however, confidently stated that he belonged to Liverpool and could inquire once he got into the general area. He knew that there was a Menlove Avenue quite well, and the gardens apparently being off the avenue, according to fellow club members, he surely felt confident it'd be quite trivial to find. Menlove Avenue is a rather well-known road in the Mossley Hill area, running alongside Calderstones Park, which William occasionally visited with Julia to see the roses. Menlove Gardens is a triangle of 3 residential streets, those being Menlove Gardens North, South and West respectively, considering that many new streets were being built around the time and people of the 1930s lacked the luxury of Google Maps. One might be fooled into thinking Menlove Gardens East was a new street, which would be somewhere in the general vicinity of Menlove Avenue, Menlove Gardens. Here's the kicker. There isn't, and still isn't, any such place as Menlove Gardens East. And there was no R.M. Quailthrow. Whoever had placed the call was apparently sending Wallace on an impossible journey to meet a man who didn't exist at an address that doesn't exist. At about 22:15, William leaves the club and is noticeably delighted at having won his game against Mr. McCartney, enthusiastically talking to his friend James Caird through the finishing moves. Before they part company, he brings up the name Quailthrow and what a peculiar name it is. Caird responds he has only ever heard of one man by that name. Afterwards, the pair briefly discuss the best route to get to Menlove Gardens. Wallace tells Caird that he may not even go, but reject his route suggestion, instead opting to take the more direct route into town and then out from there to Menlove Avenue. They go their separate ways, with Wallace arriving home at around 22:55, with his wife and supper prepared for him. They retired to bed around midnight, which was their custom. Unfortunately, Julia is not her usual self tonight. Her beloved black cat Puss is missing, and she's beginning to worry. Although Puss was not originally Julia's cat, while cat-sitting for vacationing neighbours, the two struck up such a bond that when the neighbours returned, they decided Julia should keep her. As concerned as Julia probably was that her dear cat had vanished in the bitter cold of the January winter, it surely never occurred to her that it was herself who now had less than 24 hours to live. The day of the murder, 20th of January 1931. The next day, at 10:30 a.m., William leaves his home to begin his collection rounds, wearing a dark slate grey raincoat and mackintosh to shield himself from the poor weather, collecting insurance money which he later places into a cash box that will play a central role in this mystery. He returns home at 14:10 to have lunch, hanging up his rain-soaked coat mackintosh in the hall near the front door to dry. The rack was directly opposite the door to the parlour, and had once also held a dog whip, which Wallace said he had not seen for some 12 months. He would similarly claim for there to have been a small wood chopper in the kitchen, which had not been seen by him for the same length of time, which was discovered by a policeman, Herbert Gold, in a basket under the stairs beneath a pile of clothes. At 15:15, William dons his lighter fawn raincoat, apparently owing to the weather having turned out for the better, and goes on his afternoon collection rounds. Just 15 minutes later, at 15:30, a police constable named James Edward Rothwell, who knew Wallace as an insurance agent, was cycling down Maiden Lane. In a statement he would make after the murder, he said that he passed close by William, who was looking down at the ground and did not notice him, and saw that his face appeared haggard, drawn, and unusually distressed. He went on to say that Wallace dabbed his eyes with the sleeve of his jacket, and it gave him the impression he had suffered some sort of bereavement. Very shortly after this sighting, William called on a client who in court testified that he was his usual self and was joking with her. During the trial, the defence called a number of clients William had seen shortly after this time as witnesses. All reported that he seemed his usual self and nothing was out of the ordinary in his manner whatsoever. One had even offered him a cup of tea, which he gratefully accepted before returning home. All reported that they found Wallace to be a very pleasant man indeed. In court, the defence attempted to convince the constable that he was mistaken by using the existence of these witnesses and by explaining that William may have been dabbing his eyes due to the cold. But the constable remained firm. Although he admitted eyes may water in such cold weather, in spite of that, and in spite of any witnesses the defence could call to testify, they found Wallace to be completely normal, even jolly. Just minutes after this sighting, he was unprepared to change his opinion. At the same time as this sighting, at 15:30, Amy Wallace arrived at 29 Wolverton Street to visit Julia, her last visit being her son Edwin, the Sunday just gone. Amy Wallace was William's sister-in-law, married to William's younger brother Joseph Edwin, who worked abroad in British Malaya, according to Amy Wallace. During the visit, she found out from Julia that Williams was heading off to a business appointment somewhere in Calderstone's district that night, and that she and Julia had discussed a space of recent burglaries in the living kitchen of the Wallace's home. At some point during the visit, the baker's boy, Neil Norbury, arrived to deliver Julia's bread, expressing concern for her health since she did not look at all well to him. He would later describe how she had a scarf or a bit of material around her neck. Julia reassured him that it was just a touch of bronchitis, nothing serious. By this point, she had been stricken with illness for around 2 weeks. Amy said she left Wolverton Street at around 16:30, having invited Julia to a pantomime she had tickets to, and it was around that time that window cleaner. Oops, I've just had something pop up on my screen and it's stuck it. Hold on a sec. Thank you. It's gone. It was around. Sorry. She'd tried to ask Julia to invite her to a pantomime she had tickets to, and it was around this time that window cleaner Charles Bliss scaled the yard wall from the back alley and began working on the back windows of 29 Wolverton Street. Julia went out into the yard and paid him a shilling, of which she received 3p change. By 17:45, William was just finishing up his last insurance round for the day, returning home by what he estimates to be 18:05, and eating an evening meal consisting of scones with Julia. The meal, he says, was finished around 18:30, and the fact it took place is corroborated by the later autopsy. It is just before his arrival home at 1800 hours, when it could be expected the milk would arrive, either from Alan or, if he was running late, possibly Elsie Rice, his co-worker, who had delivered to and seen Mrs. Wallace the previous night, the 19th. Mrs. Johnson said the boy had often been late recently and the milk could come any time between 18 and 1900 hours. Between 1825 and 1835, a local paper boy, David Jones, pushes the day's issues of the Liverpool Echo through the letterbox of 29 Wolverton Street. This newspaper would later be found on the table in the living kitchen. In the living kitchen? I don't know what that means. I've never heard that. It's either the living room or the back kitchen. According to Goodman, it was open and its centre pages, although corroboration of this is something I have been unable to find. He did not see anybody else about the street, nor did he hear any sounds, commotion, or see any lights in the Wallace's home, including coming from the front parlour where the murder took place. Just to touch after 1835, at what is likely to be around 1839, Julia would reportedly be seen alive by a witness other than Wallace for the final time. Many authors give the time as earlier than this, and I would gladly do so. Seems fair, but the fact of the matter is that all testimony seems to support a later time. More on this can be seen here, and it gives links. The important factor to me is the paper delivered by Wildman, who claims he is sure he got into Wolverton Street through an entry emerging beside number 21 at 1837 to 1838. He delivers several papers in the street, including Walter Home, Wallace's neighbour, at number 27. According to Home, he heard Julia shut the door of Wolverton Street at what he guesses 1835, since at 5 minutes before he received the paper. This is quite impossible, since his paper delivery boy is Wildman, and Wildman had delivered the paper and left number 27 with Alan Close still standing at the doorstep of 29 in his Shore Street school cap as he, Wildman, departed. Presumably, he began deliveries on the opposite side of the road, where he delivered to four even-numbered homes before going down an entry into Redford Street. He did not hear nor see the milk boy speaking to anyone, implying that Julia had not yet returned to the door or closed it when Wildman left the doorstep of number 27. To begin his deliveries on the opposite side of the road, the presumed route he would take, given he emerged on the odd sides of the street and all other deliveries were evens. I can't believe all the times it's given here. I thought I was about to tell the murder about 5 hours ago. Did anyone else? Hi, Liz. Good to see you, girl. Hi, Rosie. Good to see you. And you, Warren. Have you caught up with this murder? We haven't had it yet. It's been 1900-something and whatever. I would never remember them times or try and place them in my brain. Anyway, so the critical milk boy witness is 14 years old, Alan, often spelled by others as Alan Croxton Close, and he would testify that he had knocked on the front door of number 29 Wolverton Street between 1830 and 1845, leaving the milk jugs on the doorstep before going next door to deliver milk there at the Johnston's home where the front door was already open. He left the jugs in the lobby and closed the door of number 31. The door of 29 Wolverton Street opened and the milk jugs were taken in. Alan Close then returned to the doorstep of 29 Wolverton Street to collect the empty milk jugs, which were given back to him some minutes after by an alive Julia Wallace. Upon her return to the door, they discussed their prospective illnesses briefly, with Julia urging Alan to hurry off home out of the cold. The front door of the Wallace's household then shut for the final known time. I do believe the most plausible time for the door closing is 1840, given the statement of Wildman previously mentioned. Elsie Wright seems to have also been in the street at this time with Alan, likely so that he would accompany her through the dark unlit entries, which he did the following day. She did not mention this in her own statements, but Wildman seems to have seen her standing in the street waiting for Alan. Alan Wildman and also David Jones, who delivered the echo to the Wallace's house, reported seeing no lights in the front room of 29 Wolverton Street, although Alan, who could see right through the house owing to the wide open front door, did see a light on in the middle kitchen where the Wallaces had just finished eating shortly prior. It's roughly during this period, during the arrival of the paper boy and the milk boy, that Wallace is busy preparing himself for his business trip. He changes into the upstairs bedroom, combs his hair in the upstairs bathroom, and gathers documents together which he may need for what he assumes is likely some type of coming of age endowment policy for Qualthrow, the girl's 21st birthday. He can expect a very handsome commission of such a policy if he can secure the deal, and having gone unrecognised and unpromoted after 16 years of loyal work for the Prudential, he must have felt very proud to finally be noticed for his impeccable work. In all the years he worked for the Pro, his books had always been in perfect order. According to Wallace, it was Julia who had convinced him to go on the trip, since he himself was unsure. After all, while reasonably financially comfortable, as far as anyone can tell, who are they to turn their nose up at the potential of a handsome commission? William then sets out on his journey to Menlove Gardens East at around 1845, wearing the lighter fawn jacket he had worn earlier on his final rounds of the day when seen by P.C. Rothwell and various Prudential clients. The next time anyone sees Wallace's darker Macintosh, it will be considerably burnt and lying in a pool of blood beneath his wife's dead body. Wallace claims that Julia followed him down the yard, bolting the gate behind him, although he did not hear the bolt being drawn, which was their usual practice when one of them was going out, owing to the convenience of this route for reaching the tram stops quicker. With the trams, he states to have taken the latest he could have left the house to make this journey would have been in the region of 1849. Police tests seem to suggest about 16 to 20 minutes time to the second tram stop. It was the second tram William boarded where he was first noticed, with the trams coming at roughly 6 minutes intervals. Wallace stated that upon his arrival to the tram stop, he had to wait 3 to 4 minutes for a tram, which would make his claim of 1845 essentially spot on, accurate, within a minute or two. Wallace was quite a time-conscious man, in the habit of checking the clock on his wristwatch at regular intervals, according to one client. So regarding the accuracy of times, he would be quite a strong witness, unless one was of the opinion he is guilty and lying. In regards to the tram test conducted by the police, it is known that in some reconstructions, officers had jumped onto moving trams at the wrong stop, a request stop at the top of Castlewood Road, or sprinted the final leg to catch it, which of the surface seemed quite unlikely for the sickly Wallace, especially to do so being remembered at all and being possibly out of breath from battering his wife to death. The existence of the request stop is significant. If Wallace wished to make his appointment on time and wanted to be noticed, it seems it would have been a good choice to use the request stop, which would require flagging down a tram, increasing the likelihood of being noticed in an inconspicuous manner. One of the points against the man is that he arrived to Menlove Gardens West with only 10 minutes to spare. The time allowed to him upon arrival could have potentially been greater had he used the request stop. I'm a bit mixed up here already. According to the locals who gave character reports on both William and Julia, William was in a habit of walking long distances to save money on tram fares. In conjunction with petty arguments recorded in his diary around 3 years earlier about Julia having purchased too many newspapers and Julia keeping money hidden in her corsets, one can assume Wallace was quite a miserly man, only splashing the cash when it came to his hobbies. His wife suffered the consequences of which it would seem, wearing mostly homemade clothes, although she seemed to greatly enjoy needlework and had an artistic bent. Many of the paintings in the Wallace's parlour are her own work, and Wallace had described her as no mean artist in watercolour. Much of her work can be seen in the parlour and it's shown pictures. But in any case, Wallace stated that he left his home at 1845, and on surface of things, it seemed to be a very accurate estimation on his part. After leaving his back door at around 1845, William takes 3 trams to complete his journey, first getting on a tram by St Margaret's Church, Belmont Road, having apparently waited around 3 or 4 minutes, changing over at Smithdown Lane, then making one last change at Penny Lane before it's finally dropped off at Menlove Gardens West. The first time Wallace, it seemed, or at least remembered by anyone after leaving his home, is on the second tram at Smithdown Lane at 1806. Wallace inquiries of the conductor, Thomas Charles Phillips, is this tram car goes to Menlove Gardens East. Philip informs him that while this particular car doesn't, he can instead take a number 5, 5A, 5W, or number 7 car. But Phillips quickly changes his mind, telling Wallace that he can get on this tram car and that he will give him a penny ticket for the transfer. Wallace boards the tram, telling the conductor that he has an important business call to make and wants Menlove Gardens East, saying he is a stranger in this district. He repeats his need for the address when the conductor punched his penny ticket. You won't forget, mister, I want Menlove Gardens East. Shortly after, when the conductor returned downstairs, having seen the upstairs passengers, Wallace spoke to him again, asking, how far is it now, and where do I have to change? The conductor informed him that he would need to change at Penny Lane, and for Wallace's benefit, when the car arrived, he exclaimed, Menlove Gardens change here. At this announcement, Wallace alighted from the tram, while Mr. Phillips told him to hurry for the number 7 tram in the loop. Phillips then spotted a number 5 tram and stated either that one, the number 5, or the other one in the loop. From the next sighting, he can gather that Wallace boarded a 5A tram, asking the conductor on the tram to put him off at Menlove Gardens East. Upon arriving at Menlove Gardens West, the conductor informed him, this is Menlove Gardens West. Menlove Gardens is a triangular affair, 3 roads. There are 2 roundabouts off on the right. You will probably find it is one of them. William thanked the conductor, adding, he is a complete stranger round here, before alighting. Having arrived at Menlove Gardens West at around 19:20, 10 minutes until his scheduled appointment with Mr. Quailthrow, Wallace begins his quest to find the mystical Menlove Gardens East. He began by walking down Menlove Gardens West onto Menlove Gardens North, when he encountered a woman leaving one of the home, which he said about the 7th or 8th house down, 18 or 20 Menlove Gardens North. He asked her if she could direct him to Menlove Gardens East, but unfortunately she said she doesn't know where that is, but it might be further up in continuation of Menlove Gardens West. He then walked back down Menlove Gardens West, as per her suggestion, until he reached a road to the right, Dudley Gardens. Retracing his steps, he arrives back at the junction of Dudlow Lane and the top of the lower part of Menlove Gardens West. Here, Wallace approached a young, very tall, fair-haired man named Sidney Hubbard Green. Such a towering man must Sidney Green have been, that he mistook the 6'2" Wallace as a mere 5'10". He asked Green, who remembered Wallace as 5'10" and thin, wearing a darkish overcoat and trilby hat, if he knew where Menlove Gardens East was. In one of the more prolonged of the conversations he had with strangers that night, Green told him that Menlove Gardens East does not exist, but that there is a Menlove Gardens West. William informed Green that he knew that, and then went back to knock on the door of 25 Menlove Gardens West. Apparently suspicious, Beatty may have copied down the address wrong. Green seems to have largely forgotten the details of the conversation by the time he was questioned, believing it was 24 or 26 Menlove Gardens East. It was 24 or 26 Menlove Gardens East that Wallace had requested. Casey Moore of 23 Menlove Gardens answered Wallace's knock and was asked by Wallace if this was Menlove Gardens East and if Mr. Quailthrow was there. Casey Moore responded in the negative. She remembers listening the guichet on the wireless program, which began at 7 p.m, but wasn't sure if Wallace had called at her house before or after she'd started listening to this. Having hit another dead end, Wallace decided to try Menlove Gardens South and North, but immediately discovered they only had even numbers and therefore could not have a number 25. Before walking to the end of Menlove Gardens North, which led out into Menlove Avenue, after asking another stranger waiting at a bus stop where the address is with no luck, the man also being a stranger in the area and finding himself at the top of Green Lane, William decided to call his supervisor, Mr. Joseph Crew's home, which was further down this particular road and place he had visited on a number of occasions. Curiously, Dr. McFall, who would later give forensic testimony at the trial, also lived on the street, and one wonders if he and Crew knew each other and neighbours, and if so, what conversation may have taken place between the men. Wallace knocked on Crew's door, but unknown to him at the time, Crew had gone out to the cinema, and so he was met with no answer. Finding that Crew was not home, and with hope dwindling, William trudged down Green Lane and came across James Edwards, sergeant at around 1943, an officer on the beat in the area who had just left Allerton Police Station. He asked the officer if he could direct him to where Menlove Gardens East was, to which the officer informed him that no such place exists. That there is a north, south and west, but no east. William said he had tried 25 Menlove Gardens West, and the man West already, and the man once does not live there. Wallace, claiming that the man was of the friendly type, explained to him his dilemma and all about the telephone message he had received. The officer suggested trying 25 Menlove Avenue in an attempt to be helpful. As Wallace went to turn away, he turned back and asked the officer if he knew where he could find a street directory, which at the time was much more like a modern-day phone book. The officer suggested he might find one at the local police station or post office, at which point at 8 o'clock, hang on, I'm jumping about 10 sentences, at which point William checked his watch, saying to the officer, "It is not 8 o'clock yet." The officer did the same and confirmed that it was indeed 7:15. Based on an average walking pace, Wallace would have arrived at the post office 2 minutes later at 19:47. Wallace said that his reason for checking his watch was not to impact the time upon the officer, a time which would in fact be quite useless to establish compared to other more critical times, but because he believed the post office may close at 8 p.m. Unfortunately, There was no directory at the post office, but Wallace asked the clerk if he knew of any Menlove Gardens east or Quailthrow. They said they did not, but advised he try the newspaper shop. William noted the time on the clock of the post office, noting that it was now 19:54, then went a little further up the road to the newspaper shop, where he found a directory. When the newspaper shop manageress, Lily Pinches, approached him to see if she could be of any assistance, Wallace apparently requested help finding the address. Her testimony is very poor, so it is difficult to know what exactly was said. For example, she claims that Wallace had said the name Qualthrow to her, then that he didn't, then that he did, then that he didn't, then that he did, and she swears he didn't. She also states that he came into the newsagents at 2010, when Wallace states he had caught the tram home at 2000 hours, albeit based on the time he spent in the post office and the time he left it, as well as the time he got home. It would seem more likely he caught the tram after 8 p.m. But what we do know is that this inquiry was a fruitless one, and it was apparently at this point Wallace gave up his search. Given a recent spate of burglaries, which the press stated had left several neighbours in the streets nervous, Wallace claims he felt uneasy about the whole thing. Is everyone okay? Hiya, Insp. You okay, B? Hope you're all okay. Recognising where he was and being familiar with this route from Allerton, having taken this particular route to and from Mr. Crew's house was situated closer to Allerton Road than to Menlove Avenue, Wallace hopped on a tram and mostly followed the same route home, except going to his front door first instead, which was his practice late at night. No tram drivers on his journey home came forward to testify they'd seen him, nor did any passengers on the trams. Though Wallace stated that he never spoke to anybody on the way home, a local typist named Lily Hall, who knew Julia from church and had known Mr. Wallace by sight for years, gave a statement not too long after the murder which contradicted this. Apparently, she saw Wallace standing opposite the black entry of Wolverton Street at a little entry on the opposite side of the road beside the local parish church, in a darkish overcoat and trilby hat, talking to another figure, who she described as 5'8" and of stocky build, wearing a dark overcoat and a cap. However, William denied this, stating that he did not speak to a single soul on his journey home, apart from the tram drivers from whom he must have purchased a ticket. Her statement is a little confusing and muddled, and she gave several testimonies which can be seen here, and it gives a link with a detailed analysis. In any case, it's around 20:40 at night when William tries his key in the front door, but finds it'll not open after finally entering the home and later admitting a police officer. He said he found the door was bolted from the inside. How strange. He knocked gently, but received no answer. Of note, the Holmes family at number 27, whose front door was directly beside Wallace's, did not hear these knocks. But it's likely they happened, since the knocks at the back door of his home were corroborated by Florence Sarah Johnston of number 31 Wolverton Street. This is because, guys, all our houses are right next door to each other or overlooking each other. So if someone starts knocking next door, my house goes through. So hang on, where am I? So as usual knock. He then went around to the front door to give it one more try. Once again, he could not get in, and there was no response from inside the house. At this point, he began to feel some level of concern and hurried round to the back for the second time, where he had a chance encounter with neighbours John Sharp Johnston and Florence Sarah Johnston, who said they were just headed out to visit a local relative of theirs named Phyllis. A slightly anxious William asked them if they'd heard anything unusual tonight. Why, what's happened? Florence asked. Wallace tells them he's unable to get into his home after trying both doors, so John tells him to try to open it one more time, and if he can't, he'll go and get his own key and try. She won't be out. She has such a terrible cold, William muttered, seemingly having briefly considered the innocent explanation she had gone out to post a letter, which she sometimes did. When Wallace tries the door again in the neighbour's presence, it opens easily, which William signals by calling out, "It opens now." William claims that it was he who asked his neighbours to wait outside while he checked around the house, although according to the Johnsons, in an amended statement, it was John who suggested they wait outside, as he goes and looks around to ensure everything is well. Wallace stuck to his own story, even though he was aware the Johnsons had changed theirs, which Moore was furious about and brought up in a formal police report. They carefully watch his passage through the home by the lights and matches, and John, who is partially deaf in his right ear, hears him call out, "Julia!" twice inquisitively as he heads upstairs into the middle bedroom where the couple slept, apparently believing his wife may have gone to bed ill. Eventually, he strikes a match in the doorway of the dark parlour downstairs, which had the door ajar but not shut, and finds his wife on the floor. He claims to have believed she may have been in a fit and crossed to light the gas jet to the right of the fireplace, which was the usual gas jet they used. To his horror, he sees his skull smashed open with blood and brain matter oozing out and blood sprays up the walls. He hurries outside in his anxious tone and tells the Johnsons, "Come and see, she's being killed." "What's wrong? Has she fallen down the stairs?" Mr. Johnston asks. Following William inside, they come across the gruesome sight of Julia's lifeless body on the parlour. Though no furniture had been displaced, blood had been sprayed as high as 7 feet off the floor, spattering the walls, furniture, and various photographs and Julia's framed paintings, which visible brain matter which had oozed out of the large open wound in his skull. The walls above the piano had also received some sort of blood splatter. A large pool of blood had collected under Julia's body, with 2 other blood pools in a circle round to the front of the easy chair to the left of the fireplace, upon which rested Wallace's violin case. According to Wallace, she had played the violin in the kitchen on the 19th, unaccompanied by his wife, who was presumably too unwell to wish to play the piano. But it was this general practice of the couple of playing music together every evening. Wallace's nephew, Edwin, claimed that on Sunday, the night before the chess club and phone call, the couple had played music for them. But Wallace disagreed. The Johnstons had not reported hearing music in the days leading up to the murder. According to Russell Johnson, the grandson of John and Florence, and son of Sarah and Robert, oh my God, which corroborates William's version of events. "Oh, you poor darling," says Florence Johnson. "Is she cold?" asks Mr. Johnson, to which Florence shakes her head in the negative. Oh my God, shaking her head and the brains and everywhere. Oh, where am I? Shakes her head in the negative. William continues to repeat, "They finished her. They finished her," and adding at some point, "Look at the brains." Wallace requested that John Johnson go for a doctor, although he added he didn't think it would be much use. "Any particular doctor?" remarked Mr. Johnson, to which Wallace replied, "The nearest one." After this, the 3 of them lurched back into the living room, away from the grisly sight of the poor battered woman. According to William, the parlour was only used for entertaining guests or musical evenings he shared with Julia, where she would play the piano while he accompanied her on the violin. Friends and relatives, aside from just Edwin and Amy Wallace, were often treated to these musical events, many probably hiding a grimace behind a fake smile as Wallace screeched out notes of the violin to the tune of his wife's masterful piano accomplishment. There was a chaise lounge in the window, which Julia, according to Gordon Parry, many years later, would recline upon when entertaining guests. I'm just having a drink, guys. Can you understand this? Because it's a bit, oh God, the woman's dead on the floor, brains are everywhere, and they're shaking her head. What's going on there, shaking her head? My poor baby's still limping. Right, okay. Happy Father's Day to all the dads in the chat. So, while in the living kitchen, I've never heard this, the living kitchen. I've never heard that. It's normally the parlour, the living room, and the back kitchen. I've never heard the living kitchen. Is anyone there listening to me, or am I talking to myself? While in the living kitchen, back in those days, the living kitchen was the equivalent of the living room. Oh, okay. William pointed the Johnsons in the direction of a cabinet lid described by Moore as a flap door, which has evidently been previously broken and shoddily mended, was on the floor, broken in two. Here's a cabinet door they've wrenched off. On the floor were a small number of coins, a half a crown and two separate shillings. Is anything missing? Asked Mr. Johnston. William then reached up and took down his insurance collection box from the top shelf of a bookcase. Between 7 to 2 inches off the ground, and noted that it had been loosened. All that was left was a single dollar bill and 4 stamps. Wallace replied that about £4 was missing, which was apparently made up of a mixture of notes and coinage, but that he couldn't be sure until he checked his books. Mr. Johnston urged William to go upstairs. Are you getting this, JB? Are you getting this, Gail? I'm up the wall with Times and Mr. Johnson and Mr. Whoever. Are you? Too many names. Or are you getting this? Is it sinking in? Maybe it's because I'm reading it, it's not sinking in. So Mr. Johnston urged William to go upstairs once more and check everything is in order before he goes for the police. William went upstairs, returning not long after, saying that everything was in order and that there was £5 in a dish that they didn't take. It was £4 in pound notes, along with the postal order and a half crown. Wallace would later say he probably miscounted them. With this, Mr. Johnston went for a doctor and then to the police. As Mr. Johnston went for the police, he coincidentally bumped into his daughter, Nora's fiancé, Francis George McElroy, close to the house, who had been on his way to see their daughter Nora, who was still in number 31. According to Russell Johnston, at some point later, his father, Robert Johnston, having returned from work, had been informed by his wife Sarah Johnston, also both living at number 31, that his parents were next door at the Wallaces. He had entered the Wallaces' home during this time and found Florence in the middle kitchen, with Wallace in the back kitchen cutting up meat for Julia's caput, which had returned shortly after the arrival of the police. This was seen as rather callous, according to Florence. It was actually John who had witnessed this. Regarding the cat, McFall, who believed that William's stroking of the cat seemed to him rather callous, although a later letter sent to Goodman after publication of his book, The Killing of Julia Wallace, describes how, when Wallace had visited them after his successful appeal, he had almost instinctively bent down to stroke their cat as it walked past. Obviously a compulsive cat stroker, the writer had mused. William and Florence then returned to the parlour again, still alone in the house at this point, where Florence again felt Julia and noticed that she had cooled down since she last checked. Whatever had they used to kill her with? Florence asked while glancing around the room. In court, this line was falsely attributed as being said by William, and was used against him by the prosecution. Wallace himself seemed to have been quickly tricked into thinking he actually said it. Defending it as a natural thing to say, Florence stated that in response to this remark, William had passed it around under the edge of the hearthrug as though feeling for a possible implement of murder. As Florence and William examined the body closely, William, crossing from the window side of the room, stooped down, fingering a piece of material, stating, "Why, whatever was she doing with her mackintosh? And my mackintosh? Why is it your mackintosh?" asked Mrs. Johnson. William confirmed that it was. Florence herself claims she had stayed on the sideboard. She had stayed on the sideboard side of the room and had not crossed the room at all. Wallace would immediately confirm it again to the officer. Williams, the first officer to arrive at the scene a little later, who noticed and inquired about it, and Sergeant Breslin, although later, when asked yet again, he would hesitate considerably before finally saying, "If there are two patches on the inside, it is mine." This hesitation in identifying the jacket would also be used as evidence against him. The detectives who noticed his hesitation did not know he had already identified it on 3 occasions. Florence and William returned to the kitchen, not knowing what to do in the situation. Florence exclaims they will have a fire and begin to stoke the kitchen fireplace, which Wallace eventually begins to help with. According to Florence, Wallace put his head in his hands and cried, twice in her presence, but when the police arrived, he made a great effort to pull himself together. John Sharp Johnson would describe Wallace as a man who appeared to be in shock. Julia was lying on her right side, almost diagonally across the rug, her legs slightly parted, her feet lying flat on their sides, close to the right hand of the right side, close to the right hand end of the fender, toes pointing towards the window. Her right arm was hidden beneath her body. Her left arm, lying against her body, was bent at the elbow, the forearm resting over her chest, the fingers almost touching the floor, approximately 18 inches from the open fire. Sorry, Alex just indicated to me that he's going for a shower and I've lost where I am. Don't know why you have to tell me. Approximately 18 inches from the door, the open door, Julia's head lay on its right side, her eyes staring out towards the window. Surrounding her head was a 9-inch border of congealing blood and brain tissue and bone. Just above and in front of her left ear was a huge, cruel opening in her skull, 2 inches wide by 3 inches long, through which what remains of her brain could be seen. Oh, God. According to Florence, the violin stand was directly beside Julia's head, not the chair upon which there is music. This is significant and makes more sense, as Julia would likely keep a chair in front of the piano, while the violin stand would be kept beside the piano where William could play alongside his wife. Frankly, in this case, the efforts of the photographer were seemingly pathetic to a level which defies comprehension. him having only bothered to photograph the kitchen after almost all the evidence, including the handbag, broken cabinet, coins, and cash box, although many publications claim that that circle box on top was seized on the 21st of January. Also of significance, William had stayed alone in the house on the night of the 21st before the photograph was taken. Some of these words aren't making sense, or the sentences. It's not me. The first policeman to arrive at the scene is PC Williams. Constable Williams follows Wallace around the home. Finding the laboratory in order, they go into the bathroom where there is a light on. We usually have a light on in here, Wallace says. They then go into the middle bedroom where the Wallaces slept, and the gaslight in this room is also burning. Constable Williams questions this, to which Wallace explains that he changed himself in this room and that he himself had probably left the light on. He then goes to an emptied out jam pot on the mantelpiece and partially extracts the pounded notes. Later, one was found to have blood smeared across it. Here is some money which is not being touched, Wallace says. Constable Williams immediately tells him to put it back where he found it, and Wallace complies. In the front bedroom, the Wallaces used as a spare room, there was no light, but the bed sheets were partially off and the pillows on the floor. Although nothing had been taken, according to Wallace, who found items such as his wife's jewellery still in the drawers, and all drawers were shut. Wallace said he had not been in the room in about 2 weeks, and therefore could not say whether or not it was as it was left. After inspecting the kitchen, both Wallace reporting the money looted from the cash box and apparently something about the money in Julia's handbag, which the constable could not make out. Nothing had been taken from it. They went back to the parlour. The constable asked Wallace if any lights were on in the house when he returned. He explains that apart from the two upstairs in the bathroom and middle bedroom, the home had been in darkness. Many of the police officers, doctors, and forensics would soon arrive at the scene. Julia would have gone mad if she had seen all this, Wallace remarked, referring to what he felt would be his wife's reaction to so many strangers milling around the home. Unfortunately, the attending officers did a very poor job in preserving the crime scene. In fact, one detective who turned up drunk actually went upstairs and flushed the toilet. This was the same toilet on which a blood clot was found, meaning they may have well have flushed away vital evidence. Another mistake was made. The police have foolishly emptied the milk to feed the cat who was left in the house as they continued their investigations. Milk which could have been provided vital clues, for example, to prove the milk had in fact been taken in, and also to note whether or not it had been emptied into the cat's dish. Because the interaction Quail Throwers had with the telephone operator led to a no-reply error and timestamp being logged along with the identity of the booth that had been used, the police were able to track down the phone box to one situated just a couple of minutes from Wallace's house at the bottom of Priory Road, where you see a triangular plot of land. The police were already working on the assumption that the husband is almost always the killer, could not quite believe their luck. Surely it was Wallace himself who made the call in an attempt to provide himself with a bulletproof alibi. In fact, according to Moore, the police were sure Wallace was guilty on the very night of the murder, but having found no blood upon him, did not have enough evidence to detain him. As the police frantically worked on this theory, a spanner was thrown into the works when Alan Close came forward to to attest to the fact that he had seen Julia Wallace alive when he delivered the milk to the house at 18:45 on the day of the murder. Others in the neighbourhood had seen Alan Close, one significant witness who was making a delivery to number 27 Wolverton Street to Walter Home, providing home statements false. Remember seeing Alan Close right, right next to him, wearing a collegiate cap and on the doorstep of 29 where the Wallaces lived at what he said would have been shortly after 1837 or 1838. The time he would have arrived in Wolverton Street before walking 5 doors up to number 27, where he left 27. Alan Close was still standing on the doorstep with the door wide open. He did not notice any light in the Wallace's front room at this time, and noticed what sounds like Elsie Rice standing nearby, holding some cans. The police now have a serious problem. How could Wallace have murdered his wife, cleaned himself off of blood, and left the house within a matter of minutes? Through tests in which Alan Close was made to cover the distance of his route, 500 yards, while stopping up to make deliveries, drop off empty milk jugs at his dairy, and pick up a new full crate to carry around the police managed to convince Alan he was wrong about the time. By their tests, they convinced Alan Close it had actually been 1830 when he had last seen Julia. Even though this contradicted literally every single witness testimony, the closest was Florence Johnson, who claimed to retrieve her milk at about 1830. But we know the door closed on her before Alan returned to the open door of 29 and before Julia had a short conversation with Alan and closed the door on him. Alan's own watch, which he checked in Redford Street, also appears to contradict the apparent 1830 timing. In a rather ludicrous case of suppressing evidence, the prosecution objected to the appearance of several witnesses who could not prove Alan had delivered the milk later than the claimed 1830. Even still, with the false 1830 time, the timing was too tight and done, and what they suggested: killed his wife, staged a robbery, then went upstairs to clean himself in the bathroom before then leaving his back door and catching the tram. The officers set about testing the tram route, with the officers jumping on and off moving trams, and one of the reconstructions or sprinting to head off a tram which was just about to depart, sometimes using a closer request stop, which William did not even claim to have used. Though these tests were also fairly the tests of P. Julian Maddox, hired by the defence, it seems William could absolutely not have left his back door later than 1849 to have made the tram. Even hurrying at a fast pace, William claimed a wait time at the first tram of 3 to 4 minutes, corroborating his claim of 1845, since the door was most likely closed on Alan at 1839 or 1840. If we analyse the witness testimony, Wallace had at most 9 or 10 minutes to lure his wife into the parlour, batter her to death with multiple blows, stamp out a fire, and leave the back door. But given the more likely leaving time of 1845, the average tram wait would be 6 minutes. To make the 1849 leaving time accurate, he would have to have gotten lucky and jumped on a waiting tram. We are really talking 5 to 6 minutes. Even if we assume he did not need to wash himself and had staged the robbery in advance or on his return to the house, this is still stretching plausibility. Adding to this, Wallace was a sickly man, just recovering from a bout of flu that the winter months tried Mr. and Mrs. Wallace, Florence Johnson. Why did they give every single name, guys? My God. And they just say Mr. and Mrs. Wallace? Would state, though those who knew him said that he moved quite slowly, probably owing to his single kidney and the kidney disease which had plagued his entire life. Besides that, Wallace was a tall and extremely distinctive figure, dressing in what would be considered eccentric and outdated clothing, even for the 1930s. Certainly, nobody recalls seeing a very tall, skinny figure jogging through the alleyways of Liverpool in Victorian-style get-up, nor did conductors seem to recall such a man leaping onto or heading off their tram. And another blow came when the captain of the chess club, who had known Wallace for 8 years, Samuel Beattie, attested that even knowing the assertions that Wallace made the call to himself in a disguised voice and asked to consider if it was his voice, he replied that it would take a great stretch of the imagination to say that the voice which made the quell-through call was anything like Wallace's. Wallace found himself stuck in a position of trying to prove he did not make a telephone call, which apparently he did not make. While recounting the voice to Roger Wilkes years later, Lily and Martha Kelly would say, "Later, of course, I heard Wallace speak at the trial, but I could not have sworn it was the same man." And to make matters worse, when drains, basins, and toilets, etc., from the home were inspected, no blood could be found, and the towels were all entirely dry, with no sign of having been recently used. The highly sensitive benzodiazepines test was applied to the clothing William was wearing that night in an attempt to uncover hidden bloodstains, but none were found. The initial forensic report by Macfell, which you will find below, would also have damaged the case. At the time of death is placed at 1950, with 3 or 4 reported blows. When Wallace is known to have been miles away from home, this is vastly different to the 1800 time and 11 to 12 blows Macfall would claim a cause. Although the time of death can only be supplied as a window by forensic, even in modern times with the most modern techniques available, we will see below, and it gives you charts below. But the police realised the answer to their prayers had been staring them in the face the whole time. Of course, the burnt blood-soaked mackintosh belonging to William, which had been found beneath Julia's lifeless body. And so an idea was quickly formed that the reason Wallace was able to leave on his journey from Menlove Gardens without a trace of blood upon him, and so soon after his wife was last seen alive, was because he had worn the mackintosh as a shield to protect himself from blood splatter. Indeed, the final police theory was this. On the 19th of January, Wallace placed a telephone call to himself from a payphone just a couple of minutes from his house, using a disguised voice to talk to the familiar Samuel Beattie. He then went to the chess club to receive this message, faking cluelessness as the details of his very own message were given back to him. Then the following night, Wallace patiently waited for the milk boy Alan Close to arrive and provide a timestamp when Julia could be verified as last being alive. Then lured her into the parlour with a pretence that he wanted her to set up the room for a musical evening, evidently telling her he'd given up on the idea of the trip before donning the mackintosh, nude, and bashing her to death with either an iron bar or a poker, 2 items which the charwoman had reported were missing from the house. The fact he is proposed to have been nude, by the way, would have necessitated dressing himself afterwards. Adding to the time it would take to leave the house, we can ascertain that if it caught light while he was wearing the jacket, the clothing underneath would have been charged, and if he was holding it up as a shield, it seems like an act of insanity to have grabbed his very own jacket to use as a shield. The idea that Alan had actually seen Julia was not really believed by forensic experts or the prosecution, who rather believed Wallace had dressed as his wife and put on a false accent to trick Alan. Very quickly, they claim Wallace attempted to burn the jacket, but aborted the idea, possibly due to the smoke and the scent, chucked it on the ground, and pulled his wife's body on top of it, where he then beat her on the back of the head a further 11 or 12 times. After this, he put on his other jacket, cleverly hid the iron bar up the sleeve. Prosecutor Mr. Hemmerside would provide this theory to someone who had asked him about the case some time after the trial and appeal, and made a dash for the tram. It was asserted that he had found a clever place to hide the bar at some stage of his trip. Although the cleaning department was tasked with searching all street grids in the neighbourhood and found nothing, he apparently then set about implanting into other people's minds the idea that he was out at specific times, despite only actually mentioning one inconsequential time to a witness, 7:45 p.m., to build the alibi he had expertly crafted for himself. Indeed, he spoke to many people on his trip, from conductors to shop workers to pedestrians to police officers, and it was the theory of the police that he did this in order to show he was not in the house when the crime was committed. Though being strangers, it was really only luck that were traced or came forward. The witness at the bus shelter did not. Oops. While many people subscribe to the idea that Wallace was guilty and got away with murder, according to the trial's prosecutor, Mr. Walsh, Wallace's own lawyers were sure of his guilt. Many others were certain he was an entirely innocent man whose life had been cast into a living nightmare by the most unfortunate of circumstances. Amongst those were Wallace's solicitor, Hector Munro, and many co-workers who had worked with him at the Prue. Munro maintained his belief in Wallace's innocence throughout his life and discussed this on a radio interview with Goodman. Wallace himself claims that he knew exactly who the killer was and fingered Richard Gordon Parry, as the man who had murdered his wife in the last of the articles for John Bull magazines. Although Parry's name is not given, in Wallace's second statement to the police, in which he gave the names of men his wife would admit without question, Gordon's name was first, followed by a large amount of detail. Following the name of Gordon, who Wallace described as a family friend of him and his wife, was another somewhat lengthy detailing of a man named Joseph Collab Marsden, and then a shopping list of names, including chess club members and other Prudential employees. Both Gordon and Marsden had worked at the Prue, where Wallace had acted as their supervisor. Both of them had been caught cooking the books, stealing, and this was either fired or left of their own accord, and both knew each other quite well. They had also both been into the Wallace's home while working under Wallace, with Wallace remarking that they knew where he kept the cash box, which he had always kept in the exact spot for years. They would know, said Wallace, that the potential pay-in day was Wednesday, and as such, they could expect a cash box to contain the most money on a Tuesday night, the very night on which Julia was murdered. What's more, Parry admitted to police that he knew Wallace was a regular at Cotty City Cafe, the exact same cafe where Wallace's chess club met, where the notice board of scheduled chess matches was displayed, and where Parry's own drama club met on a Thursday evening. Note, the cash box would usually contain substantially more money than £4, which was apparently missing, but Wallace had skipped collections that week due to illness. Of a particular note, when the police were investigating a number of quad throws in Liverpool, they encountered an R.J. Qualdro, who, as it turns out, had been a client of Joseph Collab Marsden's. Marsden's alibi for the night of the murder, it is suggested by the note in a column of Wallace's statement to police that his alibi may possibly have been that he was in bed with the flu, which in fairness gained some credibility because there was clearly some sort of virus going around at the time, evidenced by the fact Wallace, Julia, and Alan Close had all fallen ill around that time. Gordon Parry's alibi, he had spent the afternoon with a Mrs. Olivia Brine, her daughter Savona, and nephew Harold Denison, with reference from Mrs. Brine to another woman, Miss Plant, Gloucester Road, also calling at the house contributor Tilly Min suggests this Miss Plant was likely the 19-year-old, just a couple of years younger than Gordon, Annie Muriel Plant of 158 Gloucester Road, Tuebrook. Both Olivia Brine and Harold Denison attested to the fact that Parry had stayed there from 17:30 until 8:30 p.m. at night. Statements from Savona and Miss Plant are not in the police files, and therefore they may not have been given one. But despite this seemingly bulletproof alibi, Gordon gave a completely nonsensical alibi for the night of the telephone call. He claims that he had been picked up by his girlfriend, Lily Lloyd, from an address which he could not remember, then returned to their home, spending the day and much of the night with her. This was patently untrue, and statements from both Lily Lloyd and her mother showed that Parry had arrived at their house in his car at about 19:35, midway through a piano lesson Lily Lloyd was giving, before briefly going off to Park Lane and returning later. Parry was in the habit of visiting his girlfriend each day, it would seem, and he often finished work at 17:30. When he visited her on the night of the murder, she complained he was late, although this seems inconsequential given his alibi did not rely upon her. And that's the last of that. That's the end. Are you still there, JB? What do you reckon? Do you reckon it was him? I feel like I'm getting a cold. Tell me what you think. Who's here? Oh, hang on a minute. Are you having a love affair while I'm reading a murder? Oh, hello, according to Leanie. How are you, love? It's live, yes. It's live. I've been reading. My mouth's dry as a bone. You're welcome, Lizzo. Did you get to take it in? It's a bit, excuse me, got the hiccups. A bit muxed up to me. What do you reckon? I've put pictures, posts up on Leanie's, and I've added links. As you'll see the grave here. Here's the picture. Hang on. Because you wasn't here to begin with, were you? So let me show you. Now, I seen this grave today. That's the picture I took. And there was an information board telling you about all the famous and infamous people that were buried in the cemetery. And each one was put by, like, just by their grave at a point where the grave is. So, let me just get this off a minute. So, yeah, I took that. I got a bit lost because I missed. Oh, do you know what? What got me all mixed up was the times, and it was 1470 there, and it was that day, and now I was up the wall. You were bitching at Max and Lionel. Oh, Gail, come in here. Come in here. I'm a bitch with you. So yeah, Leanie, MJT before thought the post that were up was done by you, and I said sorry. I should have put my name to them. I've been live for a couple of hours, Lee. I came live at our face. I've been Don't tell me that's took that. Mind you, I was gabbing at first, playing a couple of music to see if people come in. Yeah, so I don't know whether they're doing that at all the cemeteries now, but this cemetery is massive. So I had a little drive around it. I didn't even do a quarter of it. It's normally a bit, I was going to say it's a bit dead. It's normally quieter because with it being Father's Day, obviously people were there to go to their dad's graves and granddad's. Ah, fuck me. Ah, fuck me again. Never mind, Lee. Never mind. I did send you a message. Obviously, like me, you don't check. I don't check because if I go to open them, I know I'm going to be there for ages and I can't stay there for ages, so I just have to leave them till I can go in. Yeah, that's right, 3:45. No, I was live before that. Well, wasn't I live before? I don't know. Oh, yeah, I had to do the difference of 5 minutes at one point. Oh, well, you must have sent a message back and I was on here because I came in into StreamYard then to get the picture because I was doing a picture to show the murder of Julia Wallace. So I've put the links if anyone wants to read it. There's all different ones. You got to start source over. Sorry, let's go. Okay, give me a minute. You got to go to replay, Gail. Got to go to replay now. God, that was a long. I thought it was only going to be a short story. I thought we'd be able to discuss. And Alex going to me, I'm going for a shower. And I'm thinking, why is he going up the stairs now? Why? It's because he normally gets a shower before he gets into bed. So I'm thinking, why is he even telling me? He's telling me because of the time. It's 11:15 here. And, you know, tired eyes, he's normally in bed. Be kind and rewind. No replay. Come on. I love you on panel. Do you, Lee? You better be able. You'll be getting timed out. I've never seen anything like that at a cemetery. How interesting. Well, it may be a new thing. It's like on well, if you go and have a look at the pictures, you'll see Alec looking at the thing. It's like a piece of concrete, and it's got this like board on the top, which displays it like Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper's there as well. Yeah, let me see if I can show some pictures on here. Give us a sec. I'll have to mute this. Let me play a little song. Hold on. Hold on. I'll play Leanie's break song. Like Leanie's gone for a ciggy. Hey.
Leanie leans back, puffing slow in the sunspots glow. Mad mods in the comments, jokers throw a cyber blow. Subscribers flipping birds, saying, girl, don't you know? Break saying, welcome here, content should forever flow. She rolls her eyes, says, y'all ain't got a clue. She'll load on, drag deep like barbecue. And Team Maggie swoops in, cape and a lasso. Gotta laugh cause she's saving Leanie from this hassle. Cigarette Leanie, rapture ain't here yet. Internet wild, but she ain't breaking a sweat. Breaks on demand, while the world throws a fit. Team Maggie swoops down, y'all gotta quit. Night shift grinding, mods don't ever sleep. Subscribers wanting more, hunger running deep. Leanie cracking, but she holds that smoke. Maggie pacing, ain't about to choke. Keyboard warriors locked in a showdown. Maggie standing firm, ain't gonna bow down. Leanie one dragging, the hate ain't profound. She's jiving on while the rapture ain't inbound. Cigarette Leanie, rapture ain't here yet. Internet wild, but she ain't breaking a sweat. Bricks on demand, while the world throws a fit. a showdown. Maggie standing firm, ain't gon' bow down. Leaning one drag and the hate ain't profound. She's jiving on while the rapture ain't inbound. Cigarette laney, rapture ain't here yet. Internet wild, but she ain't breaking the sweat. Breaks on demand while the world throws a fit. Hey, Maggie swoops down, y'all gotta quit.
Well, that. Oops, hang on a minute. Well, that went tits up. Hang on, let me throw that other Maggie out who she thinks she is. Hang on. So, that went tits up, right? Because it was saying there was an error and it wouldn't let me add pictures. So, I don't know why that is. I normally have pictures on my phone. So, oh, now it makes sense. I wondered why there was a grave for the Chinese who died in Great Britain. Yeah, did you watch them all? Did you look at all the pictures? So he did not get arrested, yet he did. And no, they let him go in the end. So what do you reckon, JB? With what so they said they found a blood clot on the toilet and a smeared bit of blood on paper money that was pushed into a glass. So what's that all about? So I got confused between what he saw and nothing missing to the story that his pay was on Tuesday and people knew that. Was money missing from the box? He said, what did he say was missing from the box? He said there was only £4 in the box. Can't remember. It was that much times. And it had me all up the wall and I couldn't stand the way they gave like the full name, like talking about Leanie, say according to Leanie, when just say Leanie. What's up? How many the long names they had? Oh my God, I don't even get ranked in here. Who are you? Who are you? According to Leanie, would you like to go on panel for 5 minutes before I go? Want to say hello, or do you just want to stay in chat? Because I understand. Oh, Leanie, guess what? Anne won't mind because she's already told us in here. So a son that lives in China with his family, made up really. He's been wanting to see his father for years, right? And she only recently went on the Ancestry.com place and she's found out that he died in 2017 and the son doesn't know. She said he'd be devastated. He'd saved all his life to take him there and all that. And she said she couldn't tell him over the phone. She'd have to go to China and she swore she'd never go back there again after the son was murdered, as you know. And I said, well, look, this was fated for you to go. After this heartache, you will see your grandchildren and your son again. After all these years, she's never met her grandchildren. So out of some dark comes some light. And I think it's her son. He's done that for her because he knows it's the only way she will ever go there. How sad is that? How sad is that? No, I'm not feeling good. Are you just saying that because you just don't want to come up? It's okay. You can tell me the truth according to Leanie. It's fine. So I'll put your little comment up there. Yeah, oh no, I'm Queen. Oh, who's Queen? Are you Queen? You must be. Being the only one in here. Oh no, seriously, what's up, girl? What's up? You haven't got the runs, have you? I know, JB. Isn't that really sad, Lizzo? Oh, me and JB couldn't believe it when she was telling us. So heartbreaking that. But you know what? This is the only way, as sad it is for the son, it's so heartbreaking because you can't turn back time. You know, but hopefully there's someone there that can tell him about his dad and stuff like that. She could even look the image of his dad. But I made you sick. How did I make you sick? Shut up, Lainey. How did I make you sick? I think I'm getting a cold, Lee. I've been sniffing and my nose is blocked. Oh, you'll be sick if that happens, won't you? You're gonna have to put your co-burger Wednesdays and Thursdays up yourself. You'll be up the wall. You breathed on me through Messenger. Messenger. I'm fuming. I can't put a picture up. Did you have a look at all the pictures anyway on the post, Lee? No, so he didn't get arrested. He did, but then he let him go. So it's not solved, JB. So you need to go and click on the link in the picture and have a read, because this is another site. Because they said there were so many stories, so many, they couldn't, the witnesses were all up the wall. Quit talking, Lainey. JB's been here the whole time. Don't be a part-timer. Go on, go back to Lionel. Go on. Go and, hang on. Suck my dick, as Lainey says. Suck it, bitch. Oops. Oops. So who's here now? Lizzo, Lainey, and JB. So we've had one in here, haven't we? We've had Rapper. We've had Sean. Sean was enjoying his Father's Day weekend. We've had Anne. I think I seen the cowboy. What's his name? I always forget his name. I was going to say Urban Cowboy. That's fucking John Travolta. See, that's how mad I was on him. And B was in. And then she was gone. I think she said she was listening. Lunchy's gone to see the baby. She was listening on her way, but she said she's going to do replay. She'll be up the wall. Rapper and Hillbilly, that's it. Yummy. John T. Yeah, it's not yummy anymore. I don't think he aged nice. I just don't think he aged nicely. I swore I was going to marry that man. Do you understand that? I sneaked into the cinema, hid under the seat. You them pull down seats. I hid under one of them with me mates, and we stayed in to see Staying Alive twice. Oh, I used to cry when I was coming to the end of the film because it mean I wasn't seeing him again. I loved him. Oh, and Aussie True Crime. Yeah. No, he's not nice now, is he? Hey? No, he's not nice. So, I think I'm going to close this now. It's 11:25 p.m. At the first stroke, you used to call the time. You press, was it 1, 2, 3, and you get the time, and it'd go. At the first stroke, what? Third. At the third stroke, it'll be 12:45 precisely. That's what it'd say. I'm going up now, Gail. I'm going to go up. And, well, thanks for staying with me, JB. That meant the world to me. Thanks for everyone else coming in, including you, Lee. J. Brad, I'm trapped under Leanie's feet. Rapper, I could run right across your back, up and down, from your ankles, right up to your head, and keep running. And I'd run up and down on your back, right, and I'd jump right on the piss of your back, because that's where the pain is, isn't it? Give it a good I'll see and two, and then jump off. The waste of me, lads, I crack your back. We've got, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Don't tell me it says that. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Don't tell me the clock says that. Max, I name my car voice Tony. Hi, my name is Tony. and I'm a police officer, and I'd like to arrest you. WPC 69. I do. I have all of them on 360. Well, since you said that, I put my car on the American one, and people go, "Why have you got that on American Voice?" Because I love it. Not anymore. It was the TV that said to you know where your children are. Oh my God, they don't care about our kids here. We don't even have an Amber Alert. Isn't that terrible? We don't have nothing. We don't hear many kids go missing, but they do. But we don't hear. We don't hear about it, do we, Liz? Don't hear about it. Terrible. I mean, I know loads of your kids who are missing. Do you know what I mean? If they ever come in this country and I came across them, I'd know them. That was awesome back in the day, badass. Hey, Lainey, did you hear the break song that Lunchy made for you, the intermission song? Did you hear it? Do you want to have a little ear if you haven't? So clever, isn't she? Yeah, Wayback Machine. No, we don't find out. No, we don't find out nothing. Oh, you've heard it. Good, isn't it? Clever. It seems to go off. It seems to go off that it shouldn't go off, if you get me. Now, I'm sure she said to me, she balls that one up or something. So maybe it's the wrong one that's been uploaded. Yeah, it's too good. She's brilliant. Brain's brilliant. I used to have a brain like that, not messing. I really did. Yeah, at the end it goes off. So I think, did she say something about it, Lee? She's got another one. Because there's one here called, hang on, Leanie's intro song too. Where does I see that? No, must have been dreaming. Must have been dreaming. Yeah, does anyone watch Leanie's last live? I thought it was dead interesting. Of course, about the last 15 to 20 minutes on a woke up. And I don't know if I enjoy it, Lee. I've asked Leanie, will she do is it Amish? Am I saying it right? Because Alex says I say it wrong. Amish. There is no escape rapper from Leanie till it thunders. Leanie, I've slept since then. I made up you slept since then. I'm hoping I'm going to sleep in a bit. I will escape. Only the last 15, 20 minutes. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? I did. I did only get the last 15, 20 minutes. But I watched a bit of replay. And where was he up to? So it said I didn't understand. Tell me this. So I heard it was did you say it was a tornado? So why couldn't people go there again? Why couldn't people breathe there? And why are you laughing? Do you want to be timed out? Because you will be if you carry on. So it's Amish. Thanks, JB. See the way Lainey rushes to tell me. Maggie, I gotta show you this. I gotta teach you how to do this. She never does. Maggie learns herself. Because the air is toxic due to the stuff they mind. I miss looking at the lights. Oh, I'm getting confused with you talking what he's on about what lights. Anyway, guys, it's 11:30, right? So I'm going to sign off out of here. Just like according to Lainey. JB, thank you very much, love, for being with me. I really do appreciate it. And I just need to ask you, do you think he's guilty or not? I'm going to have to think about that in bed. Okay, Lee. You'll have to lie there with your headphones on and a cuppa, girl. You'll be made up, you don't have to interact. Love you too, girl. Thanks for coming in, Rapper and Lizzo. We appreciate it. If you want to get the full story, Liz, go and have a little listen. And Rapper, go and look at the posts on Leanie's wall of on Leanie's channel of a cemetery in Liverpool. All the old stones. There was some really old ones, you know, but that rain always comes, always comes. So I'm going to play my little song. Love you, everyone. And I'll speak to you tomorrow. And I'm made up, I'm feeling more alive. Please, God, it continues because I can't cope. Good night and God bless. To those who are in your day, have a great one. Those that are in the night, good night and God bless. Sleep well. Bye, y'all.